starting off the show with a good end. Good way to end the show, too. I go to these rock and roll concerts over in Europe, and I'll always play a hymn. You know, I do this in the United States, end all of my shows. And the first time I ever did it, I said, I'm not trying to dampen your show down, but I think everybody needs to hear a good hymn every now and then. And I was up in Wisconsin, we was playing a rock and roll show, and I played How Great Thou Art, and got the only standing ovation of the day. And they had some big stars up there. So I said, well, maybe you've been missed out here doing something awesome all these years. Instead of stuff like this. Big boss man, why don't you hear me when I call? Said big boss man, why don't you hear me when I call? Well, you ain't so big, no, no, no. You just tall and that's all. Well, now the boss man got me working round the clock. I need a little drink of water, boys, but he won't let me stop. Big boss man, why don't you hear me when I call? Well, you ain't so big, no, no, no. You just tall and that's all. I'm gonna pick a little bit on. Well, I'm gonna find me a boss man, one that'll treat me right. Work real hard in the daytime, gonna sleep real good at night. Big boss man, why don't you hear me when I call? Well, you ain't so big, no. You just tall and that's all. Look out now. Playing a song you can't figure out how to end it, you just fade it out, you know. You hear that on records? That started happening about 35, 40 years ago. We was doing a session in Nashville and somebody said, how are we going to end it? And they said, I don't know, how are we going to end it? And somebody said, I don't know. The engineer said, well, why don't you just fade it out? Just keep playing, and he faded the record down. So when you hear a song ending like that, it's not on purpose. It's because they just don't have a good ending for the song. Now that's the truth. That's the gospel right there. Well, look at you. Every one of you's got a question. How old are you, Tommy? Not going to tell you, but I'll be 84 in November. And I got the best looking wife at Ruidoso. She's standing right back there. Pretty. Wave your hand, honey. Stick your hand up in the air. Her little brown jacket. She gets embarrassed, I believe. She's a full-blooded Greek. She feeds me a lot of, we get a lot of oil out of the, what do you call it? Olive oil. I know I can get her to talk. We get a lot of olive oil. She said, if you have anything at all fried, you can fry it as long as you fry it in olive oil. So all my chicken fried steaks. I even have to fry my bacon in olive oil. You know, make cream gravy out of olive oil. Y'all like Buddy Holly, don't you? Yeah. Give this Jesse Otis 10. 1, 2, 3, 4. The sky is blue, there's not a cloud to spoil the view, but it's raining, raining in my heart. The weatherman says clear today, he doesn't know you've gone away, and it's raining, raining in my heart. Oh, misery, misery. What's gonna become of me? I tell my blues they mustn't show, but still these tears are bound to flow, 'cause it's raining, raining in my heart. Misery. What's gonna become of me? I tell my blues they mustn't show, but soon these tears are bound to flow, 'cause it's raining, raining in my heart, raining in my heart. Sure is early in the day for that one. You know, I was saving this story here for the tent today, but the way my voice is going, I may not be able to make the tent. But, you know, they say, what makes a Western swing song? And it's, you know, it's not the song, it's the way you first hear it, it's the way it's first recorded. And for an example, Fred Rose, who was Acuff Rose Publishing Company, along with Roy Acuff, they published all of Hank Williams' material, and Fred Rose used to go over Hank's material and say, you know, maybe you need to change this to sweeten it up. They call that tweaking, you know. But he also wrote Roly Poly and Deep Water. And I told a reporter one time, they said, well, why is Roly Poly a Western swing song? I said, well, look at it this way. If Roy Acuff had recorded it, it would have been a country song. or Furnace Tubbs had recorded, it had been a country song, but Bob Wills recorded it, so it made it, it's a Western swing classic. So it was the treatment they got, you know. Now, what I'm leading up to, Bob Wills, first met him in 1949, but I grew up listening to his music up at Tulsa, and my dad was a rich dryland farmer on 80 acres of Indian state. My mother, she was Cherokee Indian, and we used to listen to it on the radio. When I was a little bitty kid, we had a radio, and we had a windmill up on top of the house. It charged the battery that kept the radio going, because we didn't have electricity. That's what I'm trying to say. But anyhow, I said one time, Bob, who did you guys listen to? You know, you were starting something, and how did you learn your music? And he said, well, there was a guy named Emmett Miller, and I want you all to have computers when you go home. Google Emmett Miller. He was a comedian, a singer that painted his face black, and he was after Al Jolson. Al Jolson was the first one, but then Emmett Miller came along, and he did a lot of country songs. He did Lovesick Blues. He did Right or Wrong that Bob Wills recorded. He wrote Just a Little Love, and a lot of the country songs, and he yodeled every one of them. At the end of all of his songs, he would yodel, and Jimmy Rogers probably got influenced by Emmett Miller. Bob said that's who we listened to. Emmett Miller and his band, in 1926 he recorded. Gene Krupa was his drummer. Tommy Dorsey was his trombone player. Satchmo was his trumpet player. Benny Goodman was his clarinet player. His saxophone player was Tommy Dorsey's brother, Jimmy Dorsey. Eddie Lang was his guitar player. That's who Ellen Shamlin got those runs from. Eddie Lang was playing those runs on it was acoustic guitar back then. They did before they had amplifiers. So he said that's who we listened to. And this guy, he does a lot of talking in between songs, and I'm sure Bob picked a lot of that up, you know, the talking, and he sang St. Louis Blues. But nobody ever heard of him until, you know, later years, and you go looking back over history, and he was recording that stuff in 1925 and 1926. Emmett Miller, check it out, a big influence, you'll see on there, it said he influenced such artists as Bob Wills, Merle Haggard, and just, the list goes on and on of people that he influenced. And so, you know, Right or Wrong, he had a little verse on the front of it, and I don't know all of it. Maybe I'm da 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 da. Maybe I'm da 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 da. It was kind of a love song. Right or wrong, I'll always love you. Though you're gone, I can't forget. Right or wrong, I'll keep on dreaming till I wake with that same old regret. All along, I knew I'd lose you. Still I pray, Warren Tim, you'd be true. In your heart, please just remember. Right or wrong, I'm so in love with you. can't forget. Right or wrong, I'll keep on dreaming till I wake with that same old regret. All along, I knew I'd lose you. Still I pray that should be true. Oh, Lord, in your heart, please just remember, right or wrong, I'm still in love with you. Yeah. Thank you. But the bands these days, they play it too damn fast. You know, they play so fast you can hardly sing it. But and Bob recorded that in 1937. So it goes way back there. George Strait recorded. I produced it with Willie Nelson back in 1961. We had a record with Willie.
Who wrote that song, Tommy?
Yeah, I know the guy's name. I wish you hadn't asked me. It's a guy that wrote a lot of pop songs. He was, you know, the song came out of New York City.
That's what I
Here
remember
it is.
hearing once. Like
Yep, it did.
a homeless man on the street is what I heard one time.
Oh, could have been. You know, the songwriters got cheated out of a lot of money back in the old days. And one time I told Leon asked I would cut a box set with 50 songs, and we did Goodnight Little Sweetheart. And I was going by, Eldon was sick, and I was up in Tulsa. This has been several years ago, and I took it by and gave Eldon a copy of it. And I said, you know, Bob's name's on that record. Bob Wills wrote a lot of songs. And I said, I didn't know he wrote Goodnight Little Sweetheart. I don't know if y'all know the song, but they ended all their dances with it. Good night, little sweetheart, good night. Eldon said, oh, he didn't write the damn song. He said he got it from a guy in Louisville, Kentucky. He said, I saw him, he gave me $20 for it. So, you know, a lot of songs, you have writers' names on them that didn't really write them. You know. Then there's a song that somebody was claiming he wrote, and I was telling Ellen about that. Ellen said, Bob wrote that song. He said, we was coming from his job one night, and Bob said, stop the car, Ellen, give me a tablet and a pencil. He said, we got out on the hood of the car, and he said, I held the flashlight, and Bob wrote down the words to 8 weeks ago tonight, we parted, da-da. One of his old love songs. Merle Haggard sings it on the box set, Bob Wills for the Last Time album. And he said Bob wrote that. And that's got Bob Wills and Tommy Duncan. And Bob told me, he said, well, Tommy used to take these songs and clear them with the record company and the publisher. And Bob said, a lot of songs I wrote, he said, Tommy's name was on them. But he said, I wrote the song, and Tommy, when he'd get there, he said, he'd always stick his name on there with mine, you know, like take me back to Tulsa, stay all night, stay a little longer. And so, you know, you never know. But I do know of a lot of cases where guys have bought songs. Now, what was the question? What were we talking about? I'll tell you what. I don't have too much of a voice left. I'm going to save what little bit I got. Let me play you one here. We was going to do this last time we played, and Mike said, we never did play Honky Tonk, did we? I said, no, but you know it. This is in my new, I've got a new album out that I just cut. My wife talked me into it, went in the studio and did it. And got singing on a lot of the songs. I include this because we used to play this with the Playboys. Everywhere we'd go, we'd play it, and some people would say, why don't you ever record that? So I said, well, one of these days I will. So I did. I got this on my new CD. It's called Honky Tonk. It's for those that kind of like rock and roll. Came out by a guy named Bill Doggett. special ending. Got a break for it. Probably the longest ending on record, you know. Yeah. Then, this one here is in my new CD. This was put out by Billy Graham, and it was a '1 record back in 1959. And started that tour, it was up in New York, me and Waylon Jennings was rehearsing with Buddy. He said, I want to do this song, we'll start all the shows off with it on the Winter Dance Party tour. And I want y'all to sing along with me, and I know you know the song. Just listen. I've laid around and played around this old town too long. Help me out. Summer's almost gone, yeah, winter's coming on. Laid around and played around this old town too long, and I feel like I've got to travel on. Boy, y'all are doing good. Mama writes to Johnny, but Johnny won't come home. Johnny won't come home, no, Johnny won't come home. Mama writes to Johnny, but Johnny won't come home, 'cause he's been on the chain gang too long. I sang good and loud. I played around and played around this old town too long. Yeah, summer's almost gone. Wanna see my baby, wanna see her bad. Wanna see her bad, yeah, wanna see her bad. I wanna see my baby, wanna see her bad. She's the best friend old boy ever had. Now the folks on this side sing, I've laid around and played around this old town too long. Summer's almost gone and winter's now this side over here, I've laid around and played around this old town too long. That's good. Good again. Everybody sing one time. I've laid around and played around this old town too long. Summer's almost gone and winter's coming on. That's good. Played around and played around this old town too long, and I feel like I gotta travel on. Now tag it. And I feel like I gotta travel on. Now, you know, that kind of shows you what a genius that Buddy Holly was. He knew when he heard that song that people loved it, and the kids would like it. Everybody loved it. That's what. Why else would you learn it? That's 60 years ago. You know, y'all still know it. So you learned it good. Buddy was very smart in picking songs. He wrote good songs. And, well, surely somebody's got a question. They used to ask me over in England. They'd say, "How did Buddy put on his pants? Did he sit down and put them on, or did he stand up? Did he put in one leg, or did he?" I said, "No, he put both legs in at the same time." You know, then he'd have to pull one leg out and put it over right. You know, but they have lots of questions. Buddy probably was bigger in England than he was in the United States, and people over there loved him. They still love him. You know, it's just they ask me stuff, and they've heard the stories so many times. You know, and you can't lie to them. You got to tell them exactly the way it is, because they've done research. They know everything from the day he was born till the day he died. You know, and I'm sitting over there one time answering questions about Buddy, and some guy says, Tommy, Bob Wills, you played with Bob Wills? I said, yeah, I recorded and produced a lot of records with Bob. Did you know Junior Bernard? Now, a lot of you probably never heard the name. Junior played with Bob Junior got killed in a car wreck in '49. But he played with Bob back when he cut roly-poly and stuff like that. But Junior would take one of the tubes out of his amplifier, and when you did that, it would make a growling sound, which later became known as fuzz tone, and then now it's called distortion. And you hear it on all the rock and roll records. Junior Bernard was doing that in the 40s, you know. And he was playing blues licks so Bob didn't know it. But I told Bob, I said, you know, you was playing rock and roll way back there. And he said, oh, yeah, I said, Junior tore it up pretty good. I said, tore it up really good, you know. And you listen to some of them old records and old Junior, like on the Milk Cow Blues. Of course, he was playing with Johnny Lee. But he played a lick of it. Guitar players first lick they learned. And Junior Bernard was playing it back in the 40s, you know. And then when I went to work with Johnny Lee in 1952, there was a guy named Cotton Thompson that was a blues singer from Muskogee, Oklahoma, and boy, could he sing the blues. And he was singing, have you heard the news? There's good rockin' tonight. Which Elvis later made a big hit out of it. He was singing that, and Cotton sang the Milk Cow Blues also on Johnny Lee's record. And they were playing the same licks. Bill Haley had the first rock and roll hit with Rock Around the Clock, and he was playing that. And Ellen and Leon McCullough, he was playing a lick that Ellen and Leon put on the instrumental back in 1938 called Twin Guitar Special. And you listen to the lick on that record, and you hear it on Bill Haley's Rock Around the Clock. So, you know, they were setting a path for a lot of guys. Any more questions?
True Love Ways?
True Love Ways, yeah. That was a hymn, and Buddy's mother taught it to him. What's the name of that, honey? I forgot it. The True Love Ways hymn. Speak up, can't hear you. But it was an old hymn, but it's kind of the same melody, you know. I wish I could think. You know what? That's in my new CD, True Love Ways. Just, you know why you and I, if I get through it, will by and by no true love ways. Sometimes we'll sigh, sometimes we'll cry, but you know why, just you and I know true love ways. Throughout the day, bring us joys to share with those who really care. Sometimes we'll sigh, sometimes we'll cry, but you'll know why, just you and I know true love ways. who really care. Sometimes we'll sigh, sometimes we'll cry, but you know why, just you and I know true love waits, true love waits. Pretty song, isn't it? Pretty song. He knew what he was doing. He wanted to go to New York, put violins on his records, you know. He knew what he was doing. I played on my first session with him. We cut It So Easy, and he said, "What do you want me to play?" I've been playing Western swing my whole life. And I'm out at Clovis recording with some different people. Buddy just got back from England on a tour, and he said, "I've been hearing Norman's been playing some of the songs you played on, and I really like the way you play guitar. Would love for you to play on my record. I'm recording a couple of nights if you'd stay over." And I said, "Yeah, I'd love to, you know," because I knew who he was. Peggy Sue had been out, and that'll be the day. And we cut It So Easy, and made a cut on it, and he said, "Let's do one more." And I thought the second one was better than the first one, but because I played a different solo. But the first one, he liked the solo. He said, "I like what you're doing because you put that lick in there, and there's one little place in there at the end of my solo, and it has followed me around. You know, I'm over in Greece 3 or 4 years ago doing a guitar workshop, and I got all my students are about 12 guys from England that had been old rockabilly guitar players, and all they wanted to learn was that lick on It's So Easy. And they said, "You can buy the sheet music on that solo. Did you know that?" And I said, "No, I didn't know it." And they had copies of it. You know, over in England they put a sheet music out on It's So Easy, and on Ricky Nelson's Hello Mary Lou, the guitar, of course, that James Burton played on that, and on Elvis's You Ain't Nothing But a Hound Dog, Scotty Moore's solo. And the guy said, "These 3 solos are the #1 guitar solos in England. Did you know that?" And I said, "No, I didn't know that." So anyhow, we played this song. We recorded this one night. Buddy worked on it till about 2 or 3 in the mornings. And then we'd go in the studio. Me and Jerry Allison had been asleep in the back of the studio. And I didn't have any idea what I was going to do, but I'll play you what I played on the record. And it was his next release. This was in May of 1958. And in June, they put that record out, It's So Easy. And I'm back up in Lawton, Oklahoma, playing my swing band. It's a Southern club. And I got a phone call, and Buddy said, "Hey, Tom," he says, "I'm going on a summer dance tour up north." And he said, the record label's putting out It's So Easy. And I can't play your solo. Will you go with me?" And I said, "I'd love to." You know, it's what they call job security. If you're working on the highway, you know, you do something that you got to come back and do again. No, that's not why I did it. Here's the way it goes. 1, 2, 3. It's so easy to fall in love. It's so easy to fall in love. People tell me love's for fools, but here I go, breaking all of the rules. It seems so easy, so doggone easy. It seems so Look into your heart and see what your love book is set aside for me. It seems so easy, so doggone easy, doggone easy, doggone. It seems so easy. Where you concern, my heart has learned. It's so easy to fall in love. It's so easy to fall in love. So you might say that one little lick on there, I like the other solo on the other cut better, but Buddy liked that. He said, that little lick there is good. And it's followed me around for 57 years. And still to this day, guitar players will say, that one little thing you did on the end of your solo on this, so how did you do that? I don't tell them anymore. I used to tell them, I quit telling them. It's going to go with me to my grave. Now let the kids pick up on it, you know. Well, you know what? Y'all are probably getting hungry. Tell the truth now. Now, you know, I got a book out. It's got a lot of stories in it. And I bit the merch table over at the Big Tent, but if you feel like you couldn't get out of here without one today, my wife's standing back there. She'll dang sure put one on you. But I got a new CD out, and I'm really proud of it, because she said last year, she said, you're going to go in and do some of those songs that you do live, like, what the heck did we just do? It's so easy. And this one right here, I don't know if I can get through this now, because my voice is really sharp today. You know, when you don't have one to start with, and when you get kind of hoarse, and it's not from smoking, honey. That's not what caused it. Honey, fire, honey. Y'all bet you've heard this old song. Mona Lisa, men have named you. You're so like that lady with a mystic smile. Is it only 'cause you're lonely they have blamed you for the Mona Lisa strangeness in your smile? Do you smile to tempt the lover, Mona Lisa? Or is this your way to hide a broken heart? Many dreams have been brought to your doorstep. Oh, they just lie there, and they die there. Are you warm? Are you real, Mona Lisa? Or just a cold and lonely, lovely work of art? Mona Lisa, men have named you. You're so like that lady with the mystic smile. Is it only 'cause you're lonely they have named you for the Mona Lisa strangeness in your smile? Do you smile to tempt the lover, Mona Lisa? Or is this your way to hide a broken heart? Many dreams have been brought doorstep. They just lie there and they die there. Are you warm? Are you real Mona Lisa? Or just a cold and lonely, lovely work of art? Are you warm? Are you real Mona Lisa? Just a cold and lonely, lovely work of art. Nat King Cole, boy, when I was a young kid kicking around in Honky Tonks, Nat King Cole had a great record of that. But he did it slow. He did it as a waltz, you know. And Bobby Darin comes along and swings it. I worked with Bobby Darin on his first tour. He had Splish Splash was his big hit record. Y'all remember that? We were up east and he said, boy, I hope I make enough money off this tour to buy my mama a new refrigerator, stove, and washing machine, you know. Back in them days, them guys was getting cheated out of the record royalties. He'd had a couple of hits, but some of them labels forgot to pay the artists. You know, Chuck Berry didn't make any money off records. He got beat out of his. Little Richard, he didn't make any money. Buddy made money. Norman Petty got a lot of it. Norman got him a contract. He had the same deal that Elvis had. You know, people said Colonel Tom cheated Elvis out of a lot of money. He really didn't cheat Elvis out of a lot of money. I got to defend him. I don't know the man, I met him, but he got Elvis started, got him going, you know. He held him back and wouldn't let him go out on tour until he made a bunch of movies, and he made Elvis a millionaire. He got half of the money. You know, a half of something is better than all of nothing. I can tell you about that all or nothing. What was the question, ladies and gentlemen? Somebody asked me something. There's a hand up.
Do you know All Right? It's All Right?
Oh, I wish I did. One of my favorites. Yeah, that's a good one.
Some of the other artists that you backed up.
I've recorded over 300 different artists. And in my book, I was in Nashville. I spent 20 years in Nashville. I finally escaped, but I did 5,000 sessions there in the 70s, and I recorded all of Charlie Rich, George Jones, Tammy Wynette, Lynn Anderson, Tanya Tucker, I don't know, just you name it, Dolly Parton, Kenny Rogers. Then out on the West Coast, I was out there in the early 60s with Bobby V and Johnny Burnett, Gene McDaniels, all the old rock and rollers. I've been around the barn a couple of times, you know, I tell you. And I don't like to brag about it, but I've recorded with a lot of people, but my two favorite people is Bob Wills and Buddy Holly. You know.
Memories on Heartbeat.
Yeah, I did Heartbeat.
Memories on the recording of that song?
Mm-hmm. But he said, Tommy, can you play any Spanish guitar? And I said, yeah. You know, what are you going to say? No, because we, you know, back then, in those days, we played a lot of rumbas in the Western swing bands. We'd play rumbas and sambas, and I thought that's what he's talking about, you know. But he said, I've got this song called Heartbeat, and I'll just give you a little bit of. Heartbeat, why do you skip when my baby kisses me? That's what I thought he was talking about. Heartbeat, but anyhow, you know, yeah, that's, I should learn that one, you know. And the one I really ought to learn is Wishing. That was, we cut Wishing. Wishing was a demo, not really a demo. He was cutting it for the Everly Brothers to record, you know. And he sent it to them, and they said, "We're not going to cut that, buddy. You sang it too good. We cannot improve on your record." And it wasn't. He didn't cut it to be released. He cut it as a demo for the Everlys. But that's one of my favorites too. I got a lot of Buddy Holly favorites. There's a bunch of them.
That means that we'd have to learn how to play it.
All of my love, all of my kissing, you don't know what you've done, miss no more. When you with me, oh boy. that you belong to me. All my life I've been waiting, knocked down, beat, no hesitate no more. When you with me, oh boy, the world will see that you belong to me. Shadows appear and nighttime's calling. I can hear my heart a calling. A little bit of love makes everything right. I'm gonna see my baby tonight. All of my life I've been waiting. Tonight there'll be no hesitation no more. When you with me, oh boy, the world will see that you belong to me. Falling. I can hear my heart calling. A little bit of love makes everything right. And I'm gonna see my baby tonight. All of my life I've been waiting. Tonight there'll be no hesitating no more. When you're with me, oh boy, the world will see that you belong to me. One more time, that you belong to me. Oh boy. Oh boy, I got through that one. Now, you know, one time I was in Alabama guy, and I said, let's do something different, you know. Let's do Oh Boy and Boy Down Four, and I said, let's do a Western swing version of it. We kicked it off with twin fiddles, and you know, it just fit perfect. It made a perfect Western swing song. Of course, the kid wasn't popular. Nobody's heard it, except the 100 copies he bought and gave away to his friends, but I thought it was pretty good. I mean, that's something that Bob Wills could have recorded, you know. They're doing a good Bob Wills record. All right, friends. That man right there looks like he's got a question. No, okay. This boy right here's got one. He knows all of my songs. He's been singing all of them. What's your name?
Joe.
Joe?
Joe Cook.
Joe Cook. I bet you're a musician.
Not as good as you.
Let me tell you something. The only thing I'm good at is telling stories. Like I said yesterday, you know, Donald Trump says, I've got lots of money, lots of money. I've got a lot of memories, a lot of memories. You know? And Donald Trump's money could never buy them. Thank you. I like the good doctor too. Look at my drummer. Who's he look like? Dr. Ben Carson, huh? You thought that was Pete. You thought that was Pete. This is really the doctor back there playing drums for me. Oh, me. Pete?
Yeah.
Pete's a local boy here, and he goes around sound cut, does a lot of sound, a lot of singing. He's a great guitar player, plays guitar and bass over in his church. But you know what? We haven't done a Ritchie Valens song. You know, I got to tell you, little angel on this side, little angel on that side. You know, when I flipped the coin with Richie and he called heads, this little angel was talking to me. But the other night at the casino, this little angel was talking to me. I lost my rear end. You know? So I'm ready to get rid of this guy. You know? He's gone. He's yesterday's news. How about you? Yeah, hey. I'd get up and get it for you, but I can't even get up. Wait a minute. That's not going to work. Got to go around this way. Hey, y'all, this is a professional microphone moving that you never see at Walmart's ever. Yeah, it'll go around that. Gotta go around that one. He does this for a living. He knows what he's doing. He's a good, great sound man. I come out here and work and use him. He's always got a good sound system for me. Saw one of my old drummers today. He used to play the Texas Playboys. He's out here playing with Jason Roberts. He said, we were with Pete last night over to his, what do you call that sing-along stuff?
Karaoke.
Karaoke. He said, I'm going to tell you one thing. He said, the Pete can sing the blues, baby, let me tell you. And,
I think he was drinking a lot that night.
Well, he was that too, but
Bamba, Bamba, necesito un poco di grazia, uno poco di grazia, arriva, 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 sede, porti, sede, no more so very narrow, no more so very narrow, so capitan, so capitan, so capitan. Come on, sing. Bamba, 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 se necesito un poco de gracia, uno poco de gracia, la iba, iba, ya iba, iba. Bamba, se necesito un poco de gracia, uno poco de gracia, ahí va, ahí va, ahí va, ahí va, ahí va, si seré, por ti seré, por ti seré. Bamba, bamba, come on, bamba, 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 bamba.
all right. Favors. Out of 5, Dave. Thank you.
Did you play the guitar lick on?
I tried to play it. I played on this. I didn't play on Richie's record, but we did it live. I backed him but he played his own guitar. I said, "It's your song. Play your own damn." I had already played my Spanish guitar on Heartbeat, and that didn't go with Richie. Richie was a great little kid. He was just 16, 17 years old, and he was coming along really good on guitar. He used to sweat me out. Tommy, show me this, show me that. I'd play something, he liked it. But we got along good. He ran around with our drummer. We had a 17-year-old drummer on that tour, and him and Richie got like that. And they was just both kids. We tried to charter a plane the night before. We were in Green Bay, Wisconsin. And the night before, we was coming into Green Bay out of Duluth, Minnesota, and our old bus was going up a hill, and the bus just died, stopped right on the highway, snowing like a big storm blizzard going on. And Carl, our drummer, got frostbite sitting on the bus. We had sat there with no heat, and it was cold. It was 25 below zero, and that was actual temperature. That was before they had the cold chill factor, So finally, a sheriff deputy came along and took Carl into the hospital, and they come back out and rescued all of us. So we went in. We got down to Green Bay, and Buddy tried to charter a plane. They said, "No, we can't fly out of this weather." So we froze again the next day going over to Clear Lake, and we got there, and he chartered a plane for him and Waylon and me. And Waylon gave up his seat to the Big Bopper, Waylon Jennings. Y'all have heard of him. And he was, Big Bopper was ailing. He had the flu. And that night, Buddy played the drums behind Richie. And the night before, too. And Richie would play drums behind Buddy. And you'd never see that. You're not going to see George Strait playing drums for, one of the big stars of today. But they actually did that for each other. But he was coming up and on stage a lot that night. He'd come by me and say, "Hey, guy, you want to let me have your seat?" Because he had heard that Waylon had given Big Bopper his seat. And I kept telling him no, 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 and probably 3 or 4 times. I don't tell this story too much, but so I get ready to go to the plane, and I get on the bus and got a little bag, and I put all my dirty white shirts in it. We'd been out a couple of weeks and didn't have any laundry, and it was starting to stink, you know. And walked to the station wagon that's parked right behind the surf ballroom, and I put my little bag in the back seat. I scooted in there, and the big bopper was sitting over there. Buddy was up in the front seat with the driver, a man named Anderson, who managed the dance hall there, surf ballroom. And the buddy said, "Tommy, go back in there and check and make sure we got everything," because he was concerned about Carl's drums. Because in them days, they had not even invented the word roadie back then, you know. So you carried your own stuff around, which I still do, by the way. Come out here and Pete helps me and Mike. So I go back in there, and Richie's standing in the doorway. There's a little dressing room at the side of the stage. Little door goes out into the ballroom, and he's standing there doing an autograph, and he said, "Hey, guy," I said, "You gonna let me go?" And for some reason, I just reached in my pocket and pulled out a 50-cent piece, flipped it and said, "Call it." He said, "Heads." So I let heads, and I said, "You win it." So he was excited about it, you know. People said, "Well, we've heard he's scared to fly." I said, "No, nothing was ever said about him being scared to fly, you know. He was wanting to fly over there." So I go back out to the car, and I told Buddy, I said, "Buddy, I'm not going to be going with you." He said, "Why?" I said, "I flipped the coin with Richie, and he won, and he's going to go." And he said, "That's cool." I said, "But would you go to the post office?" My mother had sent me a letter, and back in them days, you could send something general delivery. You know, some of you might remember that, general delivery. You could go to the post office and go up to the window and pick it up. And he said, "Well, give me some ID." So I pulled out my billfold wallet and searching around in there for a fishing license or a driver's license or something. He said, "Just give me your wallet." So he took my wallet and just stuck it inside of his coat pocket. But when they found the plane crash the next morning, they found 4 bodies, but they found 5 wallets, 5 identifications. So on some of the early news, it said I could have been a possibility to have been on the plane because they found my wallet with my ID in it. And so the guy that on the plane came out there and said, "No, Tommy wasn't on the plane," and told him who was actually on the plane. But they kept my wallet at the sheriff's department up there until 1977. I didn't get it back. Now, there's a guy named John Goldrosen who's writing a book called The Buddy Holly Story. And he'd been in Nashville one day. I was recording. I was playing with Kenny Rogers on a record, and he came to the studio and interviewed me after the session was over. And then he went on up to Clear Lake and was talking to the sheriff up there, and the man that owned the surf ballroom. And he said, "I was going through these drawers, and there was Tommy's wallet." And I asked the sheriff, said, "How come you hadn't sent this back to Tommy?" And they said, "Well, we lost his address, you know, when we could release it." So I'm doing a session. I'm doing an album with Don McLean. You know, he wrote the day the music died. So Don McLean was doing a tribute. Now, listen to this. This is really weird. He was doing a tribute album. In fact, you're the first people I've told this story to. Don McLean was doing a tribute album to Buddy Holly. And with that morning session, we had recorded 3 sides, 3 songs. So we're on a 1 o'clock till 2 o'clock lunch break. And I go to the PO there in Nashville, check my post office box, and there's this little box, a little package with my wallet in it. So I go back out to the studio after I ate a lunch, and the Jordanaires were standing around, the background singers, and Gordon Stoker was one of the Jordanaires. I said, "Gordon, look at this." And I had the little box in him. He said, I said, "This is my wallet that Buddy Holly had in his pocket when he went down on the plane." And of course they looked at him, you know, touched it. And about that time, Don McLean walked in. And Gordon Stoker said, "Don, come here," and called him over and handed him that wallet. And he said, "What's this?" You know, he said, "That's Tommy's wallet that Buddy Holly had in his coat pocket when the plane crashed." And Don McLean turned as white as your sneakers right there. I swear this is truth. And he walked outside and he came back in. He was gone about an hour. And he came back in and he said, "We're going to do some original songs. We're not doing any more Buddy Holly songs." Now, that was in 77. I see him at First time I go back to the Surf to play was in 1994, and Don McLean was there. And I had never met him at that time until then. And he said, Tommy, he said, I've been having these weird nightmares about you. And I said, what's that, Don? He said, I had these weird nightmares about, I found your wallet and was holding it up and I handed it to you. That Buddy had on it in his pocket. I said, no. I said, that's not the way it goes. I said, Gordon Stoker handed you the wallet that day we were doing that album in Nashville. He said, oh my God. He said, for years, you know, he said, this has followed me around for years. He says, don't tell anybody about this. I said, Don, I'm going to tell it every time I tell a story. I'm going to tell it, you know. I told it overseas a couple of times, but it's kind of a weird story, you know. You know, the truth is stranger than fiction. Well, let me play you a hymn, and we got to get out of here. Any particular hymn you want to hear? Peggy Sue's not a hymn, man. All right. I do have this on the CD too. I recorded this a lot. Me and Billy Grammer, I had already had it on a gospel album, and a couple 3 years ago I went to Nashville and did a. Billy Grammer and I went in, just two guitars and a couple of guys, and did an album. About 3 hours, we knocked out a whole album, and I included this on that album. And Billy passed away a year ago last August. There it is, right there. He's got it. Look at that. My man right there. You've been following me around, haven't you? My wife sold you that. Pretty good album, though, is it? Pretty good. Billy Grammer was, oh man, was he a guitar player? I'll tell you what. I got a tune up here just over there. I got Billy Grammer to come to Lubbock a few years ago. We did a little tribute thing to Buddy over at the museum. And after everybody had done their show that afternoon, Billy and I got up on stage. Just the two of us, sitting just like this right here closer, me and Mike. But with people there, you know, starting to mail in, we were just playing to enjoy ourselves, you know. And we played every song. We could play them, you know. We got What Do You Want to Hear and What Do You Want to Hear. And Billy would play one. He said, now it's Tommy's turn. What do you want to hear him play? And we did this for about an hour, and I wish somebody had made a video of it, because it was a flawless hour, you know. It's just one of those moments that they come around once in a lifetime deals. And but I asked Bill over there, the guy that ran the Buddy Holly Society thing, and he said he filmed it, but he filmed the earlier part of Billy and I. But Billy Grammer plays. Billy backs me on guitar playing the solo on that album. Could you pick it out? Could you pick out his playing? I'm playing the leads, and Billy's playing the little parts behind me. If you listen to that, his parts he's playing behind me is prettier than what I'm playing. I'm not kidding you. And I like to do this for all the veterans. Bet we got some veterans here today. We had a bunch in the tent yesterday. How many we got here today? Hold your hands up, veterans. God bless you. Yeah. That man up there looks out for you, you know. Here we go. Thank you, Brandon. God bless you. Thank you very much. Love you. I'll see y'all over to Big Ten at 3:30. Huh? Everybody in the Western Swing. We'll be swinging over there. Thank you, sir. Appreciate that. Appreciate all of you.